Welcome to Marketing Mondays. I am your co-host, Amanda Fazalani, co-founder of Design for Agents. We love Marketing Mondays because this is where we go live and discuss the topics inside of Marketing Mondays. If you are new to this, then Marketing Mondays is an email that we send out every Monday at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we share marketing, branding, production, and advertising strategies for real estate agents to help you in your business. The topics we cover run the gamut. I'm going to bring our co-host on, Alex Fazzolani, my husband and fellow co-founder. Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Yes. So we have some exciting topics to cover today, like we do every week. And let's dive straight into it, right? Get into the meat and bones of this, because you have a topic that is very interesting, and it's more of a new strategy. Not so new, but at least in the real estate world, it's on the relatively new side, especially because a lot of CRMs are allowing agents to take advantage of this specific strategy. So, do you want to go over kind of like what are the four mass text message strategies that will help agents sell more properties?
Yes. So obviously, SMS marketing has been a thing, obviously, for a little bit now. So I don't know if you signed up for jeans or you signed up to get stuff, but I usually receive text messages every so often, but not as common as like obviously emails, right? Um, I noticed that agents are taking advantage of this, but they're not all doing it correctly. So there's a couple of let's say prereqs that I want to throw out there before we even dive into the meat and the bones of everything,
Okay.
which is first, don't be spammy, right? Nobody likes spam. Everybody hates it. So when you kind of start off with that, you're already shooting yourself in the foot. So we're gonna avoid being spammy. What we're trying to do is with our messages is trying to speak like we would speak and kind of let people think that we're actually texting them directly and it's not a spammy type of approach, right?
Yeah.
The first thing that I want to throw out there as a prereq. The second thing is when someone signs up for your SMS, right, marketing, make sure that they actually sign up for it, right? So they opted in to actually receiving stuff from you, right? So they went to an open house. You ask them, hey, do you mind if I shoot you a couple, some information on a daily basis or weekly basis or whatever it may be in regards to what's going on in this market? If they say yes, then that's opting in, right? So if you have them opting in to your funnels, right, that actually helps out a lot because then you're going to avoid coming off spammy and just hitting them up every week without them responding back, right? So if they're expecting something from you, it's going to help out a lot. So those are the two prerequisites. Don't be spammy and make sure that your clients or prospects actually opt into your text messaging campaign. Okay, which is going to lead us to strategy number one, which is obviously bi-weekly or weekly, um, depending how much you do it and how hot your area is that you're going to want to basically promote a new listing, right? Whether it's your listing or not, you can send them to a link that's actually directed towards a listing on your, KV Core or whatever it may be through your IDX solution, right? So this is obviously useful if you have an IDX solution because you can mix and match these, right? So that's the first strategy. Obviously, that's something that everybody should be doing, especially with their past clients. And the reason why this is super helpful with past clients, so for example, you close a deal in Forest Hills, I'm going to get a new listing in Forest Hills. I'm going to hit up all my past clients and be like, hey, would you happen to know someone that wants to move into the area? Right. So this opens you up for not just opportunities from your past clients or your sphere of influence, but also allows you to explore their sphere as well, which is really, really helpful. Which leads us to number two, which is sharing educational content. So a lot of people, they'll share educational content on social media and they'll share on their YouTube channels and so on and so forth. But what they don't do is actually send this information via text message, right? This could be a super powerful thing, especially if someone opts in and wants to learn a little more about real estate, right? So if you have a new buyer that's coming onto the market, what's the difference between co-ops and condos, right? Like, oh, actually, I have some information. Let me shoot you that. I have a video on that. Let me shoot you that information, and then you follow up with them. Hey, was that helpful? Right? So now they're getting a better experience from you as a real estate agent, and you're actually providing a lot more value with your text messages, which is going to then have them actually read your text messages rather than like, oh, he always just sends me properties. Now he's sending me education, which leads us to number three, which is local events and things to do. Right. So if you're hosting an event, or you know of a networking event, or if you know of a party or some type of fun run or something of that nature that's happening in the neighborhood, obviously this is a great opportunity to get them to read your text messages, right? So shoot it out to the people in that specific area, or people that might be close enough to actually attend this event, right? You're making yourself a value, you're making yourself a local expert, and it's really, really helpful to actually be sending this information out, right? And then lastly is other professionals, right? So, if you make a partnership with a travel company like we did recently, where we can actually send that to everybody that's on our list and be like, hey, sign up for this, you're going to get discounts or whatever it may be. And everybody's happy, right? And then they get to meet this travel professional, and you get to look like that person, the savior who actually pushed them along, right? Which is really, really cool. Obviously, credit professionals, financial advisors, we actually made a video on just this alone of like people you can add into your referral group. But yeah, those are the four strategies that I recommend that everybody utilize when utilizing SMS marketing.
Yeah, I love those four strategies, and I definitely think it's so much easier now to get this done with mass text messaging with your CRM. And going back to that first point that you said about rule number one, don't spam. I think that you know approaching this strategy and using your CRM properly is going to be so key in actually having this work for you, especially if like you work in an area like, for example, New York agents, right? Some agents work both Queens, a smidge of Brooklyn, and a smidge of Long Island. Those are actually three completely different markets. Like, in fact, one of the areas isn't even part of technically the same MLS as the other two. So what you might send for, events going on this weekend to the Brooklyn people is going to be totally different than what you would send to the Queens or Long Island people. And having your CRM really, really organized, which we talked about in a previous Marketing Mondays, is going to be so important for that.
Yeah. So like for example, like I utilize hashtags a lot for my KV core. So I
Mhm.
make sure that when I have a past client, let's say, or a sphere of influence or a new buyer or whatever it may be, I make sure it specifies exactly who they are. And then when the hashtag no longer applies to them, I take that hashtag off, right? So it's a little bit of a tedious thing, but if you are someone that wakes up every morning and pulls up your KV core and pulls up your CRM system, this is going to be a breeze for you because it's just basically like organizing. And when you do that, it gives you the opportunity to not only just like dive deep, but you really get to dive deep, right? So if you have co-ops and forest sales, right? For example, it's obviously different than condos and houses, right? You can really, really pinpoint and really niche down, which could definitely help out a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any advice for agents who they want to get started with mass text message marketing, but they're kind of hesitant, like maybe their CRM is already built out and they would just be getting started with this? Like, should they actually go and send a text that says, hey, I'm going to text you from now on?
No. So what I always recommend is to get some type of smart number that's not associated with your number, obviously, right? Like every CRM allows you to do that. So let's say you just got a new number. The best way to approach, that is to actually reach out to everybody, but do it in batches of 10 and 10 to 15, right? Because obviously anything above that, you're going to be overwhelmed with all the responses you're going to get. Trust me, I've done it myself, right? But you're gonna send out a text message basically letting everybody know, like, hey, this is my new number. You can hit me up on this number or my personal number, but this number is mainly geared for business, and that is my personal number now. You can hit me up on both, obviously, because I like you, right? You can hit me up on both. However, I'm gonna probably send out business stuff from this. Is that okay with you if I send out educational content? You know what I'm saying? You explain that in a text message, and then a lot of people are like, yeah, sure, hit me up anytime, blah blah blah, right? Like it's usually not an issue.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll receive like stop, right? And they know that where it's going, right? And then just let those people rock, like let it go. if you're never going to speak to that person again, take them out of your CRM because it's a waste of a content, right? And then
Yeah.
they're not going to end up answering your emails or your text messages, which is going to hurt you in the algorithm sense, right? So it makes sense to just take them out and then contact the people that want to be contacted.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of agents get so offended when someone unsubscribes to their email list, or when someone replies the big capital letters stop to their text messages. And in reality, it's such a good thing when that does happen, because it lets you know that they're not interested,
Yeah.
right? Like we've hit a point for ourselves with our online business and with our real estate business that when that happens, it's kind of like, whatever, right? Like you even had a client who unsubscribed from
Oh yeah.
your list, right?
So just so you guys know, this is where the power of follow up really is strong, right? So I had them on. They opted in like a long time ago, right? In regards to like they wanted to talk to me and be in contact with me, so I sent them a text message and a email. They unsubscribed from my email list, and I followed up with them constantly through text, and then I got the listing, right? So just because they unsubscribe and didn't want to receive your emails doesn't mean they're not going to want to receive your text messages and have you follow up with them,
Yeah.
right? So don't get so offended. And I think another thing too is that real estate agents have gone soft in that aspect lately.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
we started off as hard marketers, right, where we were door knocking and all that stuff. That's true rejection, right? Like that's you actually dealing with true rejection. But I don't know what happened where people are getting so soft where it's like someone unsubscribed from my mail list. I'm never sending an email again. Like, come on, man. That's not you gotta keep pushing through, right?
Definitely. I have for sure heard people cry about that. And, it's kind of, we chuckle at that at this point, because it's like, that person just did you a favor.
Yeah. Actually, another funny story too is like, there's people that are like really close to you that might unsubscribe from your
Your
email.
own family members.
I have someone that was on my team that I was sending out educational content for our real estate company, and they unsubscribed from it. And
I
I listened.
remember that.
And I was like, okay. And then on top of that, they go a couple of days later, they're like, oh, where can I access this education? I was like, via email, which you unsubscribe for, right? Like, so it happens, guys, and don't get mad about it. Turn it into a joke. He just opted right back in, right? Obviously afterward, but don't take it so offensively, guys. Like, come on, we receive how many emails on a daily basis? Like,
Yeah, it's gonna happen. So you just have to let it go.
yeah, and also with the spam, right? So we've had experience where people, are sending text messages where it's like, "We'll do it for 1%," whatever, 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 whatever.
Oh my
Right? Like
God.
and they're sending it to people that are already listed because they're not even filtering through the list. They're just spamming everybody, right?
Yeah.
That sets you up for lawsuits. Okay, so I'm letting you know right now, don't do that. Right? If you're going to be marketing to for sale by owners, expired, so on and so forth, make sure that they're not listed anymore or they're not listed at all, because you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, because that's written proof that you're trying to solicit somebody that has a listing or an exclusive already. So don't do that, right? And they should, whoever's teaching that shouldn't be teaching that, because I know someone that was teaching that recently. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
don't,
yeah, that's not a good look. Definitely don't do that. You want to stay compliant. Stay away from that.
for real.
But at the end of the day, you got to shoot your shot. Just make sure that you're compliant when you shoot your shot, and make sure that you're using mass text message marketing as one of your strategies for selling more homes. Speaking of shooting your shot, today's quote is from Zig Ziglar, and it is,
I mean,
"If you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time."
that's the truth.
So fitting, so fitting. I feel like that makes me think of people who have analysis paralysis.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody gets analysis paralysis, right? Like it's like
Yes.
that's a thing. But if you never start, you're never going to finish. So you might as well start and mess up a couple of times, maybe fail a couple of times, and then keep going, right? That's what it's all about in this real estate industry. It's all about getting up and actually trying new things and testing, 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 because there's always going to be a slap in marketing, right? So we learned that from Russell, what's his name?
Russell Brunson.
Russell Brunson, right? Um, there's always going to be a slap. There's always going to be a change. There's going to be a shift in the market, right? It's always going to happen, right? It's going to be very uncomfortable, right? But at the same time, if you're prepped, you're going to be good. If you follow specific principles and, the basics, you're going to make it through.
Definitely. So speaking of, following basic principles, one topic that we're going to cover today that was inside of the email is what is a landing page and how to use them.
Okay.
Right. So I feel like, we had Ronald W., who wrote in and he said, I keep hearing about using landing pages to get leads. Can you explain? And I feel like that's such a good question. It's such a classic question too, especially, if you watch any kind of YouTube videos or attend seminars or webinars, workshops about advertising for yourself. A lot of people, if they know what they're talking about, they're going to mention things like landing pages, squeeze pages, or lead capture page, or a single property page, a static page, a destination. Like there's so many different words for it. But at the end of the day, it's just a landing page. And a lot of CRMs actually offer for you to create one. But I think it's important to understand like what exactly it is that you're creating, why you're creating it, and like in what instance you should use it, right? So first things first is, why is a landing page even used, right? And it's to limit distraction, right? To limit distraction. When you send a potential buyer or seller to your homepage, you are essentially providing them with a bunch of different options to get distracted with. They can see your blog, they can see your About Me page, they can look at your services page, they can browse properties, they can look at your contact section. There's so many different areas for them to click through to, right? And this can be very distracting. And if your MO is that you just want to go ahead and collect their name, email, and phone number, right? Generate that lead so that you can follow up with them and potentially help them buy or sell their home in the future. You need to not have them be distracted, right? How many times do we visit websites and then we leave seconds later? Yeah, so you want to keep that attention. You want to be concise about what it is that you're trying to go after and what you're trying to provide in exchange for that contact information of that person. So that is why we use landing pages, right? What is a landing page? Usually in the real estate world anyway, it's going to be a single page that has one particular property, right? And you're saying, give me your name, email, phone number, and I will provide you with exclusive first look photos of this property and the details and stuff before anyone else gets it. That's one example. Another example is a landing page that's oftentimes called a squeeze page by a lot of CRMs. And it's where you have multiple properties on it. It looks a lot like Zillow when you first go onto the page. And this is where a buyer or seller will go on. And in order to view the details about a number of different properties, right, the website's going to ask them for their name, email, phone number. That's another example of a landing page, right? You can have a landing page for a first-time homebuyer workshop, right? If you want them to register, that's also a landing page, right? But the idea is that you only have that particular topic, offering, etc., on that page, and there's nothing else there to distract the person from leaving the page or going to some other portion of your website that isn't going to ask them for your name, email, phone number, right? And then when you should use a landing page is honestly anytime that you're doing any kind of marketing, advertising, or in the bio area of your social profiles. So the link in your bio on Instagram, the link in your Facebook business page, and the link in your LinkedIn account.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, sorry. I just want to throw in there to tie in the SMS too, right?
Mhm.
So you can even throw like a link saying, hey, just so you know, there's 3 new houses in Forest Hills Gardens. Do you happen to know anybody that wants to move to a luxury market? Right? So that's like another way that you can actually utilize these landing pages, even in SMS, right?
Yeah, definitely. So that's essentially, what a landing page is. And, we talk about landing pages inside of a lot of the trainings that we do and things like that. If you have questions about landing pages or what you like, if you want to know, like, what's the best performing landing page or anything like that, let us know in the comments below. We definitely would love to have a conversation about it. If you utilize landing pages in your advertising, let us know what's working for you. Share it with this community so that everyone can learn from each other.
Sounds good.
So, in terms of the next topic, this one is a fun one, and it is 3 mistakes agents make with their advertising. There's
Yep.
more than three.
There's so many more, but these are good enough.
Yeah, these are the top three. And number one is, I feel, probably the biggest mistake and like the second to worst mistake, because it really sets the tone for all the other mistakes. And mistake number one is not having clear intention, right? Like everything that you do in your business, you should start with the end in mind.
Yeah. So it's like they have this broad concept of what they're trying to do. So it's like real estate. We sell houses.
Yeah.
There's no real purpose, or you're not driving them through a funnel. You don't really have any intent on following up. It's just kind of like, I'm gonna put myself on a ad billboard, right? And that serves its purpose as a branding tool. But a lot of people don't call just off of that. They have to see you multiple times, right?
Mhm.
So you have to have some type of like strategy really behind that.
Yeah. And I one example that I gave was, I remember seeing an advertisement at a bus stop in New York. And it was in Queens, New York. And I saw the advertisement. It was for a real estate team. And it had the individual headshots of each team member, right?
I remember seeing that too.
It pretty much had the logo. There was a QR code, but there wasn't like oh, scan me for XYZ, right? Like it's just a random QR code. I think the QR code actually went to like some type of messaging app, but that was essentially the ad, right? In and of itself, just the team member photos and the logo, and there was like a website address, but that went to a homepage of a website, which is like a major no-no in advertising. And I remember looking at that and saying to myself, like, wow, a bus ad is not cheap.
Especially in New York, and especially with that much traffic. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
Right
not
next to the mall,
cheap.
right? It was
Yes.
next to the mall, yeah.
Yeah. That's not cheap. And it's one thing if you are such an established real estate brand that at this point you're just advertising for like namesake and to have your name everywhere. Because in North Carolina we have a broker here who just, his name is everywhere.
Yeah,
And he has a billboard where it's just his name, right? And there's like a slogan thing, right? But there's no phone number or nothing on it. That makes sense when you hit that point, right, where someone can just Google you. But I can honestly say this team was not at that point, so it doesn't really make sense. Like they probably were wanting to have people call them from the ad, right, or something like that, and that's not what that ad was going to accomplish.
yeah, and especially, like I said, advertising where your picture's on it and it just says a little bit about real estate and that's it. That's just branding. That's not for marketing. That's not actually going to help you get any clientele as much as you actually reaching out or actually making a solid connection via like a Facebook ad, right? So you want to mix and match a bunch of these different things, especially if you have deeper pockets, right? If you have deeper pockets, you're going to want to run that Facebook ad. You're going to want to hit them on Google. You're going to want to hit them on that
Yeah.
big billboard, especially if you're niching into an area, right? Because
Yeah.
now everybody knows who you are because they cannot escape you, right? And that's what's really going to help you dominate a market, especially when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, definitely. There's a fun word for that. It's called omnipresent marketing.
There you go. That sounds really fancy.
Ooh. So if you've got your marketing going on all over the place and people are seeing you all over the place, you've got some good omnipresent marketing.
Boom.
So mistake number two, right? Mistake number one is not having a clear intention, right? You don't know what the purpose of your ad is.
You're
And
just
then
going to do it.
yeah. Mistake number two is no consistency, right? I see so many agents who will run one Facebook ad or take one stab at Google pay per click or YouTube pre-roll ads, or one stab at sending a postcard marketing campaign, or only one stab at cold calling, right? And that's not going to move the needle at all.
Yeah, no, I mean consistency is key, right? If like I believe the exact statistic is that you need to be seen at least 12 times before someone trusts your brand, right? So if you're touching them once and then you're maybe making a call where they're not even seeing your face, Like we gotta work a little harder than that, guys. Especially in a
Yeah,
market that's very, very competitive, especially in the sellers market like we have right now. Right? Like you gotta really, really shine in order to actually get those listings and make a name for yourself for sure.
definitely. So, not having that consistency, not having that clear intention. And then mistake number three is not having a process, right? Alex, can you speak to that? Like, not like, what's the point of advertising if you don't have a process?
Yeah, I mean, if you have no way of actually capturing the lead, right, and and converting that lead and have processes inside of that, there's no point of even doing it, right? So I know a lot of people that'll sign up for Zillow Premier Agent ads and then maybe call like three of them if they have like 1,000 coming in, right? Well,
Yeah.
what's the point of doing that, right? You're just wasting money, you're wasting time, and you're wasting efforts, right? You got to be on top. You have to have the processes in place. Like I always say, processes equal paper, which means your processes are going to make you a majority of the money, right? So if someone calls you off the billboard, you have to find out if someone's calling you off the billboard. If someone's calling you through Facebook ads, you got to calculate where your efforts are actually making you money and then double down on those efforts, right? Especially if you see that all your business is coming through your sphere of influence and past clients, why are you spending $6,000 on Zillow, right?
Exactly.
So you have to be able to track and understand where where things are coming from, and you have to have the policies and procedures in place when those leads come in and how to actually convert them, add them to your CRM, have some follow up systems, so on and so forth.
Yes, exactly. And Alex actually has a video coming out soon where you go over some of your process for your buyers team, right?
Yeah, so I actually am creating a video. I created a video on how to build out your referral agent partner team, right? So it'll basically break down exactly what members you will need, what strategies you will need, and the policies and procedures. A little bit on that. Obviously, it's a 5-6 minute video. I can't deep dive into it, but I threw definitely some information, some gems in there. So go check that out. That will be probably releasing on Tuesday.
Nice. Yes. So we release new videos on YouTube every Tuesday and Friday.
Mhm. So go check that out, guys.
Yes. So today's tool is one that we're actually using. You want to talk about StreamYard?
Yes, so StreamYard is the ish. It's kind of like an amazing customizable version of Zoom, right? So you can have how many participants? You have up to like 7 or 8 participants on
I
that show.
think so.
Yeah, so it's really really cool. It's like having your own TV network, and you can stream it on Facebook, YouTube, a whole bunch of places. I love StreamYard. It's my jam.
Yes. And we do want to shout out the product that we are featuring today, which is the Real Estate Agent Planner Pro. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. There we go. So it includes a daily action planner. This is a 5-star best-selling product. It ships within 24 to 48 hours. It has undated monthly calendar and notes section, and it includes our brand new productivity blueprint course where Alex breaks down exactly how to be more productive in your business. There's a social media calendar, financial trackers, a real estate success cheat sheet, and so much more inside of here. Definitely check it out. It'll be in the link in the description of this video, wherever you're watching. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, check out the link in the description there as well. And yeah, we have some exciting things coming out this summer with Design for Agents. And we want to thank you for tuning in with us every week on Monday. And for those of you who reply to the emails with your questions or just feedback, letting us know that the certain topics that we've covered have really helped you in your real estate business, we appreciate that. We do all of this for you. And it's us giving back to a community that there are people who touched us in our real estate career. I could say that for sure, and I know you can too.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, it's all about giving back, and remember, it's all about collaboration over competition. So make sure that you're out there collaborating with other agents, and what I'm saying, we're building a community of strong salespeople that have the community's best interests at heart.
Definitely. So that is it for today's Marketing Monday. If you have a marketing question, send us an email, comment here, or send us a DM, and we may feature it or answer it live. And yeah, we'll see you in next week's Marketing Monday.
Adios, guys.